What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Black Ops 6. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving on to the GPR-91 Assault Rifle. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile, and with this gun, it's going to be a 5 to 6 shot kill. And just recently, we got a headshot buff to this, meaning up close, if we just mix 2 headshots in with 2 body shots, we can get a 4-shot kill. So this is now one of the better assault rifles for headshots by default. And if you put the CHF barrel on it, now you only need 1 headshot mixed in with 3 body shots for that 4-shot kill, which is very impressive for this game. As for our rate of fire, it's pretty average for assault rifles in this game at 714 rounds per minute. And what this means is with a 5-shot kill, unfortunately, our time to kill potential is quite slow at 336 milliseconds. This is the slowest killing assault rifle in the game by a fairly notable margin as well. And that is one of the big downsides with the GPR-91. However, since it's pretty good with headshots, it is worth considering our headshot time to kill potential, which is just 252 milliseconds. And that's now suddenly a very competitive time to kill, even with SMGs up close. So that's where a lot of the potential comes in with this gun. However, we could also use the rapid fire attachment to bump our rate of fire up to 769 rounds per minute, and that will give us a 5-shot time to kill potential of 312 milliseconds, which is noticeably better and it will help this gun compete, but at the end of the day, this is still a worse than average time to kill, even with rapid fire. As for ranges, our 5-shot kill to the body extends out to about 46 meters, which is very impressive for an assault rifle. However, it is worth noting that range at which 2 headshots is going to be helping, that only applies out to about 18 meters. Also, our bullet velocity is 730 meters per second, which is fairly standard for an assault rifle, and that will give us a hit scan range of 36.5 meters. Now, if you want to increase that, we can use the gain twist barrel, which gives us a 40% boost to our velocity, or we can go the long barrel route, which will give us a 40% boost to our range, or if you want to mix of both, we could of course use the reinforced barrel, which will give us a 20% boost to our range and our velocity. Now, if you decide to go the route of rapid fire, well, we do get a faster time to kill. This will harm both our range as well as our bullet velocity values by 10%, so just something to consider with that. Next up though, let's have a look at how this performs in hardcore game modes, and we have a very impressive 1-shot kill to the body at about 46 meters. Anything beyond that will be a 2-shot kill. Unless you can land a headshot, then it will be a 1-shot kill, even without the CHF barrel. And honestly, I find the GPR-91 actually excels quite a bit in hardcore game modes, not only because it has this very solid 1-shot kill range, but it also has excellent handling for an assault rifle and really good recoil, which we'll look at in just a little bit. But before we do that, let's have a look at Hipfire. And we actually have the best Hipfire spread in the assault rifle category. And this is just one of a few factors that seems to be trying to bridge the gap between assault rifles and SMGs. But next, now let's get into our recoil, and the GPR-91 has one of the easiest recoil patterns in the game to control, simply because it's got very little horizontal recoil. It kicks almost straight upward, especially with those initial shots that you fire, and after about 10 bullets, it will start to veer a little bit toward the left, but not by a whole lot. This is very easy to compensate for, and a super accurate gun. Now, it is worth noting, if you put the CHF barrel on, it will very noticeably increase that vertical recoil. It jumps pretty hard, especially for those first 4 or so shots that you fire, which are the most important shots that you're going to be firing. So definitely something to be aware of with that. And then, of course, with rapid fire, we do see an increase here as well, but not nearly as much as what we see with the CHF barrel. Next up though, let's get into our handling stats, and our aim down sight time is very fast for an assault rifle at 225 milliseconds. That is the fastest in the assault rifle category, closely followed by the AS Val. Then when it comes to our sprint out time, this is the fastest in the assault rifle category at just 160 milliseconds, so very solid there. And then very interestingly, with both our slide to fire and dive to fire times, this is the only assault rifle that doesn't follow the same trend as the others, and both of these values are actually faster than all of the other assault rifles in the game. So once again, we are seeing that trend pop up where it seems like they're trying to bridge that gap between assault rifles and SMGs. But next up, when it comes to our reload time, this is a little bit on the slower side at 1.78 seconds, and this is with a default 30-round magazine. However, we could use the flip mag or fast mag for faster reload times, but smaller magazines, or we could use one of 2 extended mags for a higher magazine capacity, but noticeably slower reload times. And it's worth noting, even with extended mag 1, that's quite a slow reload at 2.3 seconds. And this finally leaves us with our mobility stats, which across the board, we've got faster than average movement speeds with the GPR-91 compared to the other assault rifles. And that's nice to know, you will be able to get around the map noticeably faster. And with all of that covered, we can finally move into some excellent attachment combinations I've got for you guys with the GPR-91. And the first one I wanted to share here is my balanced stealth build. So with this one, we are using a suppressor to stay off the radar. We've also got the Ranger foregrip primarily for the increased sprint and tactical sprint speed. And with this, you're actually able to sprint around the map faster than all of the SMGs can by default, which is very interesting. Although this also provides that added benefit of slightly improving our horizontal recoil control. And you can see it kicks a little more straight upwards. It doesn't veer to the left quite as much as the base recoil does. But then after that, we've got Extended Mag 1, just because I often feel like 30 rounds isn't enough with the pace of this game. However, that really slow reload time kind of sucks with this, so I would understand if you don't want to use this, I would pop that off and probably put on an optic instead. That's a different alternative you can use to this setup, but I'm sticking with Extended Mag 1 on this since I don't mind the iron sights. We also have the ergonomic grip, which gives us a faster aim down sight time and better slide to fire and dive to fire times, which is excellent. And then finally, we're topping that off with the infiltrator stock, which allows us to strafe faster than any other assault rifle in gunfights. And that can be quite helpful for evading shots while staying on target. So that's the first one and one of my go-to setups that I would use on this gun. However, if I'm using the Gunfighter wildcard, I would be using the Kepler Microflex, the Compensator, the Reinforced Barrel, the Vertical Foregrip, Extended Mag 1, the CQB grip for faster sprint out, slide to fire, and dive to fire time, the Strelic Laser to give basically a near instant accuracy when starting aiming down sights, and then once again, we've got that Infiltrator stock on there because I absolutely love that attachment. And with this, we've got an extremely accurate gun on our hands, especially those initial shots fired. They're grouped so tightly, and it's so easy to control this recoil. You can just laser people across the map, no problem with this. And that makes this gun feel pretty great, considering the fact that it needs all the accuracy it can get with that slow time to kill potential. And this just leaves us with one last setup I wanted to share for you guys, and I actually developed this one specifically because of the recent update with the headshot multiplier change. With the GPR-91, it's one of the few guns in this game where I actually recommend using the CHF barrel. So this is my headshotter setup. And with this reason, the Kepler Microflex, the Compensator, the CHF barrel, which means in that maximum damage range, we only need to mix one headshot in with body shots, which is reasonably easy to do, especially with the Compensator on there as well. And that'll give us a time to kill of 252 milliseconds. So this is great if you're actively aiming for the head. Also, you can see that the Compensator basically counteracts any of the recoil increase you see from the CHF barrel. Like, you might not be quite as accurate as the base gun, but you're pretty close to it here. And then we're just topping this off with the ergonomic grip and the infiltrator stock. So you got that little extra mobility and handling. And this is actually quite an impressive setup if you are capable of landing that headshot. Obviously, if you're not landing the headshot, you're really not taking full advantage of this. But at the very least, if you're going for headshot camo challenges, this would absolutely be my go-to setup. And with that, that's gonna wrap it up for today's gun guide on the GPR-91. As for my thoughts on this gun, I'll tell you guys right up front, I'm not a big fan of this. This has always been my least favorite assault rifle. However, at least it's a lot more usable now after the headshot update. That's at least one area where this gun really shines, and I quite like that, but for the rest of the design, I just find it's really awkward. Like, in some ways, it looks like they're trying to make an SMG assault rifle hybrid, like with handling, mobility, and hipfire, but then you look at the really slow time to kill potential, and that's not going to compete even with other assault rifles up close, so it doesn't really fit that role super well. So then you look at the recoil and the range, and it seems like the gun's really good for longer ranges, but then why does it have fast handling and mobility? It's really just awkward balancing there, and that's why I've never really liked the GPR all that much. However, now that headshots are powerful, I think it's at least kind of interesting, and it's got something going for it. Now, of course, those are just my opinions on the GPR-91, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this gun in those comments down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous gun guides, I will leave a link to those in the description down below. And I just want to point out, I know I've taken a little break away from gun guides. The only reason I did that is I knew we were expecting a major weapon balancing update, and I didn't want to be pumping out gun guides only to have them inaccurate like a few days later. And so that's why I've been holding off, but we're getting back into the flow of things now, and we should be seeing an episode every 2 to 3 days from here on out. If you guys enjoyed this one, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.